Nothing like a busy day at the office, huh, Capitan? How are you? Bye. Don't forget, Capitan, you can go back to the island at any time. More reconnaissance never hurt anyone. Except Mr. Rubio. Ugh, I need to flush the tank. Should have brought my wrench. You get used to it down here, yes? I do not even smell the smell anymore. beautiful. Say hello to this. It's okay, I will fix it. And silent. You get used to it down here, yes? I do not even smell the smell anymore. I will be able to see you on CCTV.
as we say in Russia, like child breaking into secure compound, huh? Judging from the lack of terrified screams, I will assume you made it through the uncharted tunnel and into the den of strung-out militiamen. Good. Things are going according to plan, huh? Now, let's see what he has for us in the vault this time. You're in the area where Mr. Rubio's personal bodyguards operated. These men will know every soldier under their command. No disguise will fool them.
Sorry, I'm on the other line or tied up in a...
Back online, driver? Let's give the new playlist a spin. For some action. What is next in line? Let me know what I can do for you. If you need any help, driver, I am right here. Time for some action. What is next in line?
Okay, it's time to take
Yo
a
guys,
look
welcome to
at
King Plays. This is King, and welcome to a Sony Vegas tutorial, an OBS tutorial, and an NVIDIA tutorial all rolled into one.
In the program,
guys, today we're going to plan even just
LUT
also when you're streaming and recording
if
and
I
making
apply that
thumbnails.
LUT,
So we're going to start off here with Sony
I'm going to keep it at 1 just for dramatic effect.
You want to hit media
and I'm going to
effects.
press close, and the filter is still
The way
applied.
you've got to adjust, I'll show you
So that's LUTs.
Found that
Let's
really
go
helped.
into
It's
our
about as sharp
filters
as they were
again,
before. Now,
and
as you
I'm
guys
going
can
to
see, you can see
hide
the
every filter
or
that I
whatever
make.
it is
I'm not
that
going to
you're
remove
using.
it. I'm going
Just
to hide it by
OBS
clicking
does
this
this,
I
you guys
button.
can see I've got
So you
this
see if I
already.
hide it, the filter
Make sure
goes
that
off.
this is not
If I
pressed
unhide
filters.
it comes back on. Simple. Onto the next filter, which is blur. Self-explanatory. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to increase the blur and decrease the blur just by moving this scale right here. I can also change the type of blur to Gaussian, box linear, dual filtering. But to be honest, you'll very rarely need something different to box blur. Let's hide that.
Make sure that this is not,
Onto the next filter,
all you really want to do is
which
probably add
is
maybe
chroma key. Now, this is a extremely complicated filter which applies to green screens. Basically, what it does is it removes all green from your image on screen. We'll go into this in a little bit more detail down the line, but for now, let me just show you a quick example. I'm actually going to add another image. Oh, I don't want to remove that, my bad. I'm going to add another image source, and we're going to find an image that has a little bit of green in it.
If you guys want to change the colors a little bit, as you can see up here, it is changing the colors.
Let's go to this right here that I was working on for a company. So you can see in this picture, we've got some green at the bottom of the screen. Now, if I go to filters and I add a chroma key filter,
now if you guys aren't interested, it's really
it's actually started to remove that green from the image, and I can slide this scale, the similarity scale, up and down to remove more green or less green. Again, quite a complicated process. We will come on to this later in the course because it is a very, very handy feature. Going to remove that image and go back to the picture of my doggy. Oh. Okay, on to the next filter, which is color grading. Color grading, again, another way of choosing the amount of spectrum of a color that you want in your image. If I want to reduce the amount of red in my image, I can reduce the red value. If I want to reduce the amount of green, I can reduce the green value. This is very good if you need to match your image color spectrum to an image that you already have. So let's say you have a picture of a house on fire. So it's a very warm, it's a very hot image. You might want to lift your red up a little bit to match that color map. It's another way of changing the color grading, the color mapping. Quite useful. On to the next one, we have color correction. This is one of the most used filters on images and videos in the studio. We can change the gamma, which is basically a forward brightness, the contrast, we can change saturation, so if we want more color, we want less color in our image. You can see, so earlier we had applying the LUT of grayscale or desaturation. You can actually do it in this filter as well by reducing the saturation in a way. Maybe you want to change the colors of your image completely by changing the hue. I can make my dog purple, I can make my dog blue, green, whatever we want by changing that hue. And you can also in here, one of the most important tools, you can also in here change the opacity.
Always at your disposal.
Transparency. Don't forget that's in this menu. Okay, on to the next one, which is this is very, very similar to the chroma key. It's not as optimized for the color green as you might think. Let's have a look what we've got here. Custom color. If I map this to, let's say, brown, where is brown? We'll go with this brown here. It will start to remove the brown from my image. Do you see that? It's very similar to chroma key, but just not as accurate. So I always recommend using chroma key instead of color key. The next filter is crop pan. Cropping is probably something we've done before, but
I'll
to
be
put
right
it in
here.
layman's terms, it's moving the sides and the tops of your
Anything
image to
specific
make
you'd like
the
to try?
image smaller. You're not actually making the entire image smaller, you're basically cutting out sides and tops. So if I add 100 pixels to the top, it's going to remove some of the top. Let's make it a little bit more dramatic. Let's do 500 to the top. There you go. You can see it's cut the top of the image. If I do 500 to the right, it's going to remove... Ooh, that's actually a really nice crop. It removes all of that paper. I might keep that on, actually. 480. Let's put down 480. Absolutely beautiful. And suddenly you've got a much better looking image. Ta-da! Right-click, transform, center to the screen. So cropping is where you change the boundaries of your image, basically. All right, well, we're going to leave that one on because it looks decent. Let's go filters. Let's go plus. What else have we got here? Dynamic mask. A little bit complicated, this filter, but basically you are using a mask to change the data of your image. We'll come on to masks at a later date. They're a little bit complicated to explain and probably not something you need to know the basics of this program. Image mask. Again, we'll come on to image mask a little bit later. Very similar to dynamic mask. But basically, if I had a PNG of a circle and I wanted to crop the dog picture to a circle, I'd use an image mask. We'll come on to it a little bit later. Luma key is another form of color correction on your image, but you're also removing the lights. So if you have very, very light areas of your image, it will remove those bright white light areas. Not something that we tend to use so often, but we will be going into this in more detail later on in the course as well. Move source is obviously you're moving your sources around, but you need to have scenes and groups set up. Another feature which not many people use, and we will talk about at a later date. Move value is similar to move source, move transition override. This is a plugin which we won't look at just yet. Render delay. Now render delay is interesting. If you want to delay the stream of your video file with images, it's not going to work. If you want to delay your video file start, you can add delay to the start of your video file by changing this value. So I can change it to a second, 2 seconds, 100 milliseconds, anything like that. This is very helpful for stream intro. I'm sure we'll be using this in a later course. Let's hide all of these seconds off, of course. We're going to add later on. That's a plugin. Scaling aspect ratio. This is basically changing the size and ratio of your image. So it will stretch and thin your image depending on the aspect ratio that you decide. To be honest, this is helpful if you have like a flat color or a base color background to your screen. But if you have an image, a very specific image like the one I have, it's just going to distort the image. So for now, I'd be leaving the scaling and aspect ratio alone. Scroll. Here's a very, very handy filter. And for this one, I'm actually going to add a source. I'm going to add a new text source. And we're going to say, my dog is great. Make it a little bit smaller so you can put it right into the transform and center horizontally. Let's just center to scroll. And I'm going to add a scroll filter to this text. What it's going to do is it's going to make the text move across the screen and repeat itself. It can move vertically, horizontally, or both. Sounds complicated, but it's really not. Let me show you it in live time. I'm going to add the scroll, and I'm going to change. Let me make this window a little smaller so we can see everything. I'm going to put the horizontal speed up a little bit, and you'll see the text scrolling along the screen. It's not optimized, and the letters are a little bit squished together. We can change that at a later date. But it's really handy for information, particularly for subscribers, like most recent subscribers. Have it scrolling, you can have more information than having just, one person on the screen. You can actually have 10 if it's scrolling across. Let's put the horizontal speed back to 0 to show you what it does vertically. It works within the scale of its image size, its canvas size. So at the moment, it's not scrolling all the way to the top of the screen. We'll talk more about scrolling at a later date, but just so you know, this is one that you'll see on many people's screens. Let's get rid of that text. We don't need that anymore. We have, what else do we have? I keep adding source instead of a filter. Let's go down to shader. Shader, as it says in the name, you're going to need a shader file, and basically what that's going to do is apply shade and color mapping to your image. For now, not something you need to know. For later, we'll definitely go into it in more detail. And what do we have finally? Finally, we have sharpen, which is going to sharpen up your image. If you have a slightly pixelated or blurred image, sharpen might help you just get a little bit of crispness into your image.
Next activity.
As it happens,
set
my
it
image is
and
pretty
let's go.
clear and good quality already. If I sharpen, it's just going to make it look a little bit distorted and fuzzy. If I unsharpen, or if I de-sharpen, you can't go any lower than 0. So it doesn't help very well. The the opposite of sharpen being blur, the opposite of blurring being a sharpen. And that, very basically, covers all of the video and image filters on OBS Studio. There are many more which I'm going to be introducing to later in the course, but those are thanks to plugins, and they're very, very helpful to create some incredible effects. But now, just get an image source or a video source into OBS Studio, have a play around with each of these filters. You are not going to destroy your OBS Studio by playing with filters. And if you add a filter to the source and you're not happy with the results, just go ahead and remove it. You can remove these just by clicking onto them and pressing the negative, the minus button at the bottom here. Let me turn all of these on. We've got some really weird stuff going on here. Let me turn on the shader off. If I just want to remove them all, I can literally just keep pressing negative. Or if you want to hide them, just click that I button, it will hide them and keep them in the list. I'm going to go ahead and remove them, and you'll see the image reverts back to our original picture of the dog. Can I just press the D? Yeah, you can also just press the D. I did not know that. It is a hotkey for removing overpass. There we go, guys. Back to our original image. That's image and video filters. Stay tuned for more top tips and tricks for those video and filters. So we've done the image and video filters, but what if you want to change the output of your sound, the quality and the specific levels of your sound output, be that microphone or music? Well, I've gone ahead and added an audio input capture down here. You can see if I go into the settings that I'm using my Lining microphone on the Realtek Audio driver, and down here below my preview I can see my monitor, so I know that the microphone is working. I want to add an audio filter to that microphone to change the sound slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top at the end of the mixer down here. It's a little bit small, you can't find it. Click on that, and we're going to see lots of options here. I'm going to click on filters. We're now in, that's an old filter I added. We're now in the audio filters menu, and we're going to add something, a filter, to our microphone. I'm going to go down here, just like I did with the video filters, click the plus, and choose one of these filters from the list. Let's go through them one by one and figure out what they do. Audio music plugin comes to that compressor. Now, compression is basically when you hear somebody on a podcast or a radio show and their sound sounds very, very well. It sounds very well. It sounds flat and everything sounds normalized, and it's not. There's no cuts. There's no compression. Is the filter that's used to normalize a input or an audio input to make it sound as professional as possible. It's quite a complicated filter to get right, and the settings are different for everybody, but we will go into this in more detail a little later on and get you that crisp podcast radio sounding voice that everybody is like. On to the next filter, which is expander. This is basically the opposite of compression. If your sound is too compressed and too flat, we use the expander to make it sound more bigger, louder. Everything that you would want to be opposite in a compressed audio, we can use an expander. Again, another option that's complicated we'll come to at a later date. One of the filters that you might want to use right now as a basic user of OBS Studio is gain. If you find that your microphone is not loud enough, it's not capturing your audio at a loud enough range, you can add gain, add volume to your input. So you see here, if I reduce the gain, the monitor at the bottom of my screen only reaches minus 35, minus 40 depth. If I increase the gain, well, I'm maxing out the monitor, holy moly, let's put that down a little bit to like 9, let's put it down to 5, and here we're at minus 10, minus 8, minus 6. So you can use the gain filter to increase the volume of audio capture. Now be careful. If your microphone is on the lower spectrum, on the lower end of the spectrum, this will also increase background noise. So just be very careful with your gain and make sure when you increase it, listen back to your audio input and make sure that you're not capturing more noise as well. Invert polarity will come to you at a later date. It's a very useful filter. Basically, if you find yourself streaming and sometimes you're screaming and sometimes you're whispering, you're going to want to limit those screens so that you don't destroy their headphones and earphones or the viewers. Basically, setting this threshold means that I cannot go above that threshold when I'm recording my voice. So let's say, at the moment it's set to -6, so on the monitor down here, it won't go above -6. However, if I set it to -20, you see, even if I scream, it won't go above -20 in the monitor here. It's being limited. Very, very useful filter if you are a shouter or screamer whilst streaming. We have Move Value. This is a plugin we'll come to later on. Noise gate and noise suppression. Noise gate is basically you telling OBS, right, I don't want you to capture any sound above this level, and I don't want you to capture any sound above this level. Below this level. So if I set the close threshold at -40 and I set the open threshold at -10, the microphone will not pick anything up underneath -49 decibels, but will not pick anything up over -14 decibels. Very useful again if you have lots of noise and strings. And noise suppression, if you have that grainy in the background whilst you're using your microphone, noise suppression is a perfect filter. You have two options here. SPX, which is a manual noise suppression filter. You need to set this level to whatever your noise is at. However, to be honest, RN noise is a more than capable noise suppression automatic filter and will get rid of that annoying noise in the background. You have a low-end microphone and the noise is very, very overbearing. RN noise will only do so much. You will need to consider getting a better microphone. Maybe even go for an XLR microphone with a mixer or processor. But for now, RN noise will get rid of that pesky noise in the background. And that's it. That's a very short list of audio filters that you can use, but there are other advanced audio settings. Stay tuned for more on that. Okay, so you've got all set up and you think you're ready to record and stream. How do you actually go live or start streaming? Well, the difference between the two, by the way, streaming, you will be uploading your information, your video and streaming information to an online platform to play the video in real time to viewers. So when we use the word streaming, you're hosting the video on a platform like YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook for people to watch. But recording is when you're sitting and capturing everything on your OBS screen and saving that as a video file. You can then use that video file as, I don't know, to edit it, to upload to YouTube, or just to keep for your own personal reference. So we're going to find out how to stream and how to record, which is super, super simple. I'm actually going to move my webcam here just a little bit to the left so you guys can see. Oh, hello. So you can see to the right of my face right now, you actually have the start streaming and start recording button. When you click start streaming, a prompt will come up and it will ask you if you're sure you want to start streaming. And when you start recording, the same will happen with that. Now, obviously, when you start streaming, your video footage, your stream footage, will start streaming to whatever settings you have set up here. So if I click start streaming now, it will stream to YouTube, primary ingest server. And we're going to talk a little bit later, I think in the next video or 2 videos time, about how to link YouTube and ingest servers. Obviously, if I choose a different service, then it will stream to that. If I click start streaming, then I start streaming. But if I click start recording, it's going to save that video.
Always at your disposal.
Okay, we're doing great in these street fights so far, which is not much of a surprise. I mean, what were these cats thinking coming after us? Anyway, we're taking a break, so let's step away from the street rivalry for a moment and have some quality drift time. Our playground, airport. Your car, Drift Queen Lancer Evo 6. Yep, no time for shilly-shally. We've been through quite a lot together, and I have nothing to teach you anymore, so just have fun. Got you a nice little track for this. Basic but technical.
Time for something fresh and new.
The deal. Try not to disappoint. Ooh, the quick whiskers in person on our frequency. Well, take a head start, kitty cat. You're gonna need it.
Some impressive machines these guys are driving.
A new playlist just opened up.
Are quite the deal. Try not to disappoint. Ooh, the quick whiskers in person on our frequency. Well, take a head start, kitty cat. You're gonna need it.
Some impressive machines these guys are driving. Gets my motor running.
That's the spirit. Let's take these jokers down.
say my Evo X liked it much, but all good.
Yeah, the Motorfest is clearly cranking things up, without any regard for our paintwork.
If that's too much for you people, feel free to wait on the sidelines and watch.
Eavesdropping now. If you want to join the winning team, just say so.
Kids these days. Excellent job, my friend. That second victory clearly sends a message.
Any comment from the cats on the radio? Yeah, didn't think so.
Experiences. Speak to you soon, driver. Speaking. May I help you? the next objective? Good to go.